long.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best rest of my life.
I love my Giza Dream Sheets.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Use the promo code and Mike will give you a very special 2-for-1 low price and free shipping. That's right, get 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. Call or go online now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Frustrated with heavy rubber hoses that always get tangled and easily kink? Introducing the Bionic Flex Pro hose, the super strong, super tough hose that's ultra light as well. Run over an ordinary hose and it'll easily burst, but the Bionic Flex Pro hose stays intact no matter what runs over it, because its reinforced drag-resistant commercial-grade outer polyester weave makes it tougher and stronger than ever. And its solid brass fittings are crush-proof too. Ordinary hoses kink easily and stop working, but the Bionic Flex Pro hose never kinks. It just keeps flowing strong. And while regular hoses easily get tangled, the Bionic Flex Pro hose is tangle-proof. You can get the 25-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose for just $19.95 with free shipping. But wait, order today and we'll upgrade your order to a 50-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose. Just pay a separate fee, and shipping is still free. Go now.
Call 1-800-313-8062.
Live from our Denver studios, it's America's Voice Live with Tudor Dixon and Steve Gruber. America's Voice Live.
Hello and welcome to America's Voice Live. Thanks for joining us today, this Monday, September 21st, 2020. Over the weekend, we learned of sad news for the country. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away Friday at the age of 87 due to complications from cancer. Justice Ginsburg was a woman who fought against the cultural and legal norm. She graduated from law school in the 1950s, and let me put that into perspective for some of you. Less than 2% of women attended college in the 1950s, let alone law school. She spent much of her career fighting for equal rights and became a beloved pop culture icon, going viral when a New York University law student dubbed her the notorious RBG. Ginsburg was nominated to the Supreme Court on June 15, 1993 by President Bill Clinton, and she was confirmed by the Senate on August 3rd of that same year. She was someone for little girls to admire, not only in accomplishment, but in demeanor, always level-headed and open to her colleagues on the other side. She served 27 years as a Supreme Court justice. President Trump was in the middle of a campaign rally when the news of Justice Ginsburg's death broke on Friday, but Steve, even his critics said his response was genuine and heartfelt.
Well, he was just... I didn't know that. You're telling me now for the first time. She led an amazing life. What else can you say? She was an amazing woman. Whether you agreed or not, she was an amazing woman who led an amazing life. I'm actually sad to hear that. I am sad to hear that. Thank you very much.
Steve, and what he said was exactly right, and you can tell that's truly how he felt about her, don't you think?
I think it is. Let's be honest. Ideologically, the president and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, miles apart, but so were her and Antonin Scalia, the conservative justice on the Supreme Court for many years, who died in 2016, but they were close personal friends for decades, despite their ideological differences and their differences of opinion on important Supreme Court decisions. But those kind words from President Trump, that might have been the high water mark for where we're going to be going for the next 40 days, because it didn't take very long for the partisan divide to open up, for the fingers to be pointed, the threats to be made, and the president saying, well, I'm going to move forward with my constitutional duty to fill the seat. In fact, he says he's looking at women as the most likely successors to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Here's part of what he said on Friday.
It will be a woman, a very talented, very brilliant woman, who I haven't chosen yet, but we have numerous women on the list. I built this incredible list of brilliant people
Now, we're told there are 5 finalists now. 2 of the names we keep hearing, though, Tudor, Amy Coney Barrett and Barbara Lagoa. Amy Coney Barrett, 48 years old. She's on the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, where she has sat since 2017, having been appointed by President Trump. She's been there, like I said, since 2017. She's going to be a difficult person for the press and for the Democrats to malign. She has 7 children. 2 of those children are adopted children from Haiti. She has 2 adopted African-American children, which will make it more difficult for the press to attack her. We'll see what happens there. The Democrats lining up already, saying that they're going to, do everything in their power to stop any nomination from going through. Also on the list, Barbara Lagoa from the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. She's Hispanic. She's Cuban in her background, and she comes from Miami-Dade, Florida, obviously a critical part of Florida when it comes to the election. And obviously, if the president chose a Hispanic woman, that too would be an important measure and something that might move some voters. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a contentious 43 days from now until the election. We'll see if it can be finished up. The president says he will make his announcement sometime Friday, maybe Saturday. But make no mistake, the lines have been drawn. The Democrats raised millions of dollars in the hours after the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Millions, tens of millions of dollars, shattering records. Did Act Blue. No word on if all their donations came from unemployed people like previously. But it's going to be, I guess what I could say safely, what you saw with Brett Kavanaugh and the nomination and confirmation hearings that you saw there, that's going to look like child's play compared to what the Democrats are going to roll out with their mainstream media friends and cohorts this time around, Tudor. It's going to be ugly, and I don't think that begins to cover it.
Absolutely. We've already seen people come out and say all kinds of terrible things, which we'll be getting into a little bit later in the show. But yes, he did say that he would announce his pick this weekend. A lot of people on the Republican side wanted him to come forward early in the week and do so. I know you had talked about in your show earlier today giving a chance to mourn and get through the funeral of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and give those people that chance to heal before this, because it will be such a battle. But this is what he said when he said he would announce this weekend. I want to play that for you now. Here it is.
I think it'll be on Friday or Saturday, and we want to pay respect. It looks like we will have probably services on Thursday or Friday, as I understand it. And I think, due respect, we should wait till the services are over for Justice Ginsburg. And so we're looking probably at Friday or maybe Saturday.
Now, Steve, I want to reiterate again that this president has come out and been very respectful the entire time. When he was told, very respectful, honored her memory, has continued to say that that is the most important thing to do right now. Now, Speaker Pelosi, she did go in and pay her respects to the late justice. However, she came out and she said some alarming things about how they would stop the president from choosing a new justice. Here it is.
Some have mentioned the possibility, if they try to push through a nominee in a lame duck session, that you and the House could move to impeach President Trump or Attorney General Barr as a way of stalling and preventing the Senate from acting on this nomination.
Well, we have our options. We have arrows in our quiver that I'm not about to discuss right now.
Now, it's important here, Tudor, to note that the president has apparently been watching my program here on the network, which I greatly appreciate because he's taken the advice of wait. Let the people that want to mourn and have respect for the career of Ruth Bader Ginsburg to do exactly that. It's the right move. It's the right call. And his comments immediately when he found out, leaving that rally on Friday, he struck the right tone. The right point of view was taken by the president, and it is correct now to allow the mourning process to proceed. But make no mistake, the president will nominate someone for that position from the list of 5 that he says it is down to on this day. And when he makes that choice, all bets are off. Nancy Pelosi, I would suggest something else that the president said today would also ring true, and that is if Nancy Pelosi tries to proceed with an impeachment effort, which has been thrown out there as a possibility, that would throw the election to Donald Trump. I don't think this country is ready, willing, or able to deal with another impeachment process. As bogus as the last one was, nobody wants to get involved with that, not with 40 days to go before the election. But watch for the Democrats to throw everything out there. They're talking about impeaching the president. They're talking about impeaching Attorney General Bill Barr. They're talking about trying to stop this any way they can. But keep in mind, Ruth Bader Ginsburg herself was confirmed in 42 days. So confirmation can happen on a shorter calendar. It happened with her, and maybe that's the precedent we should be following. 42 days for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, maybe 35 for the next member of the United States Supreme Court. We'll see how it plays out between now and Election Day.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting what the Democrats try to do. I found it interesting that Nancy Pelosi didn't come out and offer anything, because she seems as though she feels a little bit backed into a corner here, which I'm sure they do, because if you look at the historical precedent, every president has nominated in this situation. So they're asking him not to nominate, and then they're going to the senators and saying, you know, don't do this, don't do this. But again, historically, if you have a party that is the same party as the president, the Senate has then voted on it. And so right now they seem very backed into a corner, and she could never get an impeachment through in time, Steve. So you can tell that she just doesn't really know what she wants to do, but she wants to stop this.
And an important note to what you just said there, of the 19 times that the same party in power in the White House and in the Senate nominated, 17 out of 19 times that nominee has been confirmed. You're watching America's Voice Live. More after the break.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly meeting?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this. Let's stack the deck.
When legends play, they wear Copperfit Advanced Back Pro. Copperfit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing. To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain and it's affecting your everyday life. You do something.
If you can find something to help you get back out and be active like Copperfit, go for it.
Absolutely.
Do not give up.
A high-performance compression fabric infused with the powerful properties of copper, 360-degree flexible mobility, and lightweight, durable construction.
Nothing more painful than having back pains. If you're aching, if you feel like you can't work out anymore, you can. And that's with Copperfit.
Yeah. It's for all of us who still want to be active, still want to compete.
Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, this really does feel good. It feels to me like the fountain of youth.
Copperfit's best-selling back support just got bigger, badder, and better. Or call 1-800-944-5851. Or on the web at advancedbackpro.com. Get yours now for only $19.99.
This does feel good.
That's what I've been saying.
You think it was fair?
It was fun.
Play for the love of the game.
Copperfit, live limitless.
You know, immediately upon the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, people began to gather at the nation's Supreme Court, leaving flowers and messages on the steps there. And of course, in this political atmosphere, Tudor, it didn't take very long for things to begin to ratchet up. But before that all happened, Joe Biden came out and he had comments on the passing of a woman who really became a rock star. Let's not be kidding ourselves about this. Whether you liked her decisions or you did not, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the notorious RBG, became bigger than life in many ways. And for many people in this country, she was an enormous figure in politics and for the court. And so do not underestimate her influence and her impact on America, whether you agreed with her or not. She was a massive figure and will continue to be so for quite some time. Here, however, is what Joe Biden had to say. He made some comments on the passing of RBG. Let's listen in.
We learned of the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was not only a giant in the legal profession, but a beloved figure. And My heart goes out to all those who cared for her and care about her.
Interesting. I couldn't quite understand Joe Biden there. I was having some difficulty understanding him. Was it just me, Tudor? I'm not making light of it. The point is this. Donald Trump came off the stage after 95 minutes in front of a rally, was told in real time about the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and made very nice comments about how important her life was, and that he was sad to hear that. It came across as very genuine. Joe Biden, to me, comes off a little less so. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Biden voters, however, Biden says voters won't stand for this abuse of power. I'm not sure what he means by this, and so I want you to hear this as well, Tudor, because there's this idea that somehow, by the president doing what is required of the Constitution, which is nominate, and then have the Senate, advise and consent about that nominee, how that's somehow an abuse of power, but that's what Joe Biden seems to think, apparently. Listen to this.
That moment is now for the voters to get a chance to be heard. And their voice should be heard. And I believe voters are going to make it clear they'll not stand for this abuse of power.
All right, so there's Joe Biden saying voters need to be heard in this moment. And anything short of that, he says, would be an abuse of power. Of course, the battle lines have certainly been drawn. And the battle lines have been drawn in such a way that the rhetoric has been ratcheted up. Unbelievable to think this. In the year of the pandemic, in the year of riots in our major cities that have gone on for weeks and months, that all of a sudden there's a game-changing event in September that becomes almost the exclusive focus of the election. Who fills the seat left behind by Ruth Bader Ginsburg will become the focus of the remainder of this election. Make no mistake. That's where we are in this conversation. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, larger than life, like I said. And because of that, Ruth Bader Ginsburg is become the focus of the threats we saw from Nancy Pelosi, comments made by other members of Congress. Ted Cruz says they must fill this position. Senator Tom Cotton says they must fill the position. Others say something quite a bit different. In fact, if you go to social media, you can see tweets that were put out that ratcheted this up to a point that I think was frankly unbelievable, even in this temperature, even in this day and age in 2020. Let's put a couple of those up on the screen here, and you can take a look at some of the Twitter accounts. Bo Williman, we're shutting this country down if Trump and McConnell try to ram through an appointment before the election. Ram through? It's the constitutional duty of the president to put forth a nominee. Also from the Twitter bag, we have this: burn Congress down. No joke, burn Congress down before letting Trump try to appoint anyone to SCOTUS. Burn Congress down. Do you really believe that the American voters are going to go and say, we want to see more riots in the streets? We want to see rioting in the streets because of a selection to the Supreme Court. They were already turned off by what happened with Brett Kavanaugh. The Kavanaugh effect was real. And in fact, if you look back, 4 incumbent Democrat senators in red-leaning states lost in 2018. The Democrats thought they were going to take the Senate back in 2018. Instead of taking it back, the Republicans, in fact, got a larger majority because seats in North Dakota, Missouri, Indiana, and Florida all went to Republicans. Ironically, the very Democrats that voted against Brett Kavanaugh. There was one Democrat incumbent in a red-leaning state that voted for Brett Kavanaugh. And Joe Manchin survived his reelection challenge in West Virginia. Let that be a lesson. If this divide continues, Americans will likely line up with the Republicans. In fact, I talked to one pollster over the weekend. He said this: if Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearings had been 2 weeks closer to Election Day in 2018, he believes the Republicans would have held on to the House, because that's how ratcheted up, that's how ginned up the base was, that's how excited and motivated Republican voters were after witnessing the way that Brett Kavanaugh was treated by Dianne Feinstein, by Kamala Harris, by Chris Coons, and all of the folks there on the Democratic side of the aisle. And so if it happens again this time, I'm not sure this is good news for the Democrats to fight this hard because it didn't go well for them the last time. And going forward, it could be problematic again, Tudor.
Steve, I want to talk to you about one more tweet. We have Reza Aslan, who is saying that this is over our dead bodies, that you will get to choose a Supreme Court justice over our dead bodies, literally. He's essentially calling for a civil war. I mean, when you're talking about bodies in the streets, you're calling for a civil war. And I want to go back to that first video you played of Joe Biden. His reaction to Ruth Bader Ginsburg dying as compared to President Trump's, I go again to the fact that he has tells of dementia, and I would love to have a behavior expert come on and a body language expert come on and say, you know, here he is, he's cleaning his glasses, he's looking down. Now you hear something that important, and as a leader of the country, you look away and you take your attention off of it to try to gather your thoughts. There's something going on there. That's a that there's something going on there where you see President Trump makes constant eye contact. He engages with the situation. He takes it in. He comments on her life. This is, as you said, Joe Biden, you could not even hear what the man was saying as he's mumbling and cleaning his glasses. A very strange reaction for people to go to civil war over this man.
No, I would agree with that. As my mother would say, it sounds like you have a mouthful of marbles there, young man. And that's what it sounded like. It sounded like he didn't have a clear grasp of what was going on or what was happening at that moment while he was distracted doing whatever he was doing. This is America's Voice Live. Quick break. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I guarantee you they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best sleep of my life.
They are so soft and smooth. I never slept so good.
I fall asleep faster because I'm actually comfortable.
I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable, which is why I can give you my full 10-year warranty. But I didn't stop there. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. I guarantee you the first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now. MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors and will be the softest, most comfortable sheets you will ever own. Use the promo code and get 2 for 1 low price, plus free shipping. Giza Dreams are made with the finest, most sought-after cotton in the world. Giza cotton was once reserved for only the finest dress shirts, but is now available in Mike's Giza Dream Sheets. They feature a beautiful silky sateen weave that helps keep you cool and comfortable all night long.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best rest of my life.
I love my Giza Dream Sheets.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Use the promo code and Mike will give you a very special 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. That's right, get 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. Call or go online now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Steve, we were just talking about Joe Biden and his fumbling response when he learned about the death of Justice Ginsburg. I want to play that for you one more time and chat about it for a little bit. Here it is.
We learned of the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was not only a giant in the legal profession, but a beloved figure. And my heart goes out to all those who cared for her and care about her.
Oh, it's his mask. I thought he was cleaning his glasses, but it's his mask. He's playing with like a kindergartner.
Yeah, he's just not focused. I mean, he's not with, here's your audience. Here's the people you're talking to. This is an iconic figure to half of America. Again, whether you like her or dislike her, agreed with her, disagreed with her, doesn't matter. It's an iconic figure to men and women, and as you pointed out, Tudor, somebody who broke the glass ceiling. and rose above at a time when almost no women went to law school. In fact, she couldn't get cases when she was early in her career because people wouldn't hire a woman as a lawyer. They wouldn't let her be on the case, right? So you had these kind of challenges when she first started. She overcame all of that. And again, whether you agree with her or disagree with her on her rulings, that's a different matter. But for Joe Biden to sit there and just kind of mumble, and it's like, did they get him out of bed and it wasn't a good time? And so my question to you at that point is, if it's not a good time and there's an enemy of America that's made an attack at 2 in the morning, what happens? Wasn't it Hillary Clinton that had the commercial back in 2016? It's 3 in the morning and the phone rings. Who do you want to answer it? I'm not sure Joe Biden would hear it ringing. And that's probably an important consideration. I'm not sure he would answer it at all, based on what we've seen. And I'm not trying to be unfair or unpleasant. I'm just saying, am I wrong? Look at what we're looking at.
When we watch the phone call where he calls Kamala Harris and tells her she is going to be the vice presidential nominee, he's holding the phone upside down. So, Steve, I think you have a very good point that this is someone who is not aware of what he's doing anymore. And yet still you have these far left radicals, I guess you can say, because they're clearly calling themselves radicals these days, telling people it doesn't matter, vote for him anyway, and join us, become a radical. Listen to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Here it is.
Voting for Joe Biden is not about whether you agree with him. It's a vote to let our democracy live another day. Let this moment radicalize you. Let this moment really put everything into stark focus, because this election has always been about the fight of and for our lives.
Now, Steve, she's clearly upset. She's clearly likely been crying. Her hair is messed up. This is why in the past you didn't have social media, where the minute you had a thought, you could go out there and put it out there for the world to see. But this is now young Congress out there.
Here's the problem, Tudor. You have a woman there who's talking about, we have to do this to save our democracy. And their idea for saving the democracy is destroying it, destroying the republic. Let's reimagine the republic. Let's reimagine democracy. Let's reimagine the way we vote. Let's reimagine the way that we do law enforcement and policing in America. Let's reimagine everything from the ground up. Let's reimagine the economy so we can be centrally planned. I mean, their idea of voting for Joe Biden to save the democracy is to put a bullet in its head and be done with it. I mean, that's really what they're talking about. Destroy it, burn it down, start over, bulldoze it. America's a terrible place. It's racist, it's fascist, it's misogynist, it's a terrible thing. So you're right. Radical is the appropriate word when you deal with people of this nature. The fact of the matter is, their idea of America is not having America. And not the way you've ever known it, not the way I've ever known it. And I hope and pray that America on November 3rd and leading up to November 3rd and mail-in balloting knows enough about what it's looking at to have some common sense. Because if these people get in charge, because again, look at Joe Biden. He's not going to be the one in charge. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the folks that will surround him will be in charge. They'll be the puppet masters. Make no mistake. And he's much more like a marionette every day than he has been before.
And Steve, you've made a good point throughout this program today that no matter how you felt about Justice Ginsburg, you had to respect her place and what she did in this country and her role as an icon in this country. And I don't know that the left is doing that right now. When I see them marching outside of Mitch McConnell's house saying, Ruth sent us, no ethics, no shame. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Mitch McConnell has got to go. Yeah. This is not, they're saying they came because Ruth sent them. I mean, to me, this is incredibly disrespectful. This is not something that she was known for, going out and chanting around people's houses. She fought a good fight for women's rights and equal rights, and she would not, I don't think, have condoned this, but that's what they're saying now. This is what they're doing in her honor. We have a quick break. We'll be right back here on America's Voice Live.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly beating?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this. Let's stack the deck.
When legends play, they wear Copperfit Advanced Back Pro. Copperfit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing. To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain and it's affecting your everyday life. You do something.
If you can find something to help you get back out and be active like Copperfit, go for it.
Absolutely.
Do not give up.
A high-performance compression fabric infused with the powerful properties of copper, 360-degree flexible mobility, and lightweight, durable construction.
Nothing more painful than having back pains. If you're aching, if you feel like you can't work out anymore, you can. And that's with Copperfit.
Yeah. It's for all of us who still want to be active, still want to compete.
Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, this really does feel good. It feels to me like the fountain of youth.
Copperfit's best-selling back support just got bigger, badder, and better. Or call 1-800-944-5851. Or on the web at advancedbackpro.com. Get yours now for only $19.99.
This does feel good.
That's what I've been saying.
You think it was fair?
It was fun.
Play for the love of the game.
Copperfit, live limitless.
You're watching America's Voice Live as we go through the life and times of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who died at the age of 87 on Friday from complications from pancreatic cancer, her 4th round with cancer. This one proved to be fatal. It occurs to me that the president probably knew that the end was near. 9 days before Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, he put forth 20 new names for his potential Supreme Court nominee list. And so it seems to me the White House probably had some inclination that the end was near for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. My next guest spends his time studying politics and the United States government and the Supreme Court. Professor Adam Carrington from Hillsdale College, a professor of politics there. Good to talk to you again, Professor.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about the magnitude of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's impact on the court. As I've said during the program today, whether you like her, dislike her, agree or disagree, she is still a giant figure in the history, certainly the modern history of the United States Supreme Court. Is that fair?
Absolutely, on 2 levels. One, she was leading the liberal wing of the court for the last 10 years. And also just the way that she became an icon to the political left and all of the barriers that she broke in getting there. Agree or disagree with her, she was a monumental figure in the history of the 20th and 21st century American law.
Had great impact, no question. So let's talk about this. We are told, no way to prove or disprove, but we are told, Professor, that her dying wish was that her seat not be filled before the election. But I'm sorry to say she knows full well, or would have, that that's not her call, that picking a Supreme Court nominee is not up to her, and constitutionally speaking, there is no provision whatsoever to hold off on picking a Supreme Court nominee, no matter the timing of it. And is it ever convenient? This comes just 40 some odd days before the election. I would note, however, that she was nominated and confirmed in just 42 days. So the idea that somehow a seat should remain open just doesn't line up with American history very well.
No, and constitutionally, as long as a president is in office, he has the power to nominate an open seat. As long as senators are serving out their terms, they have the power to confirm or not confirm. Now, there may be political reasons to hold off or to do something different, but that's entirely at the discretion of the president and the Senate.
Well, you know, for a woman who said, don't fill my seat until after Election Day, that's a very political thing to say for a Supreme Court justice. I would put forth for your consideration. I would also say this. My best guess is that if Hillary Clinton had been elected president, Ruth Bader Ginsburg would have stepped down. But because of political calculations and the attempt to hang on to that seat for, as you put it, the liberal wing of the Supreme Court, she didn't step down. She stayed until the very end of her life. Another And I'm going to hazard that it's a political calculation on her part as well. Your thoughts?
Absolutely, and that goes back a long time. I could give you a list of Supreme Court nominees going back into the 1900s and 1800s that decided when they would retire or not retire depending upon the party in power. And to be honest, for the other branches to be dictated to in this way by the Supreme Court would really be, at least in spirit, a violation of the separation of powers. It's not their job to determine who replaces them and when.
But we do know that Lisa Murkowski, Senator of Alaska, first to say, I won't vote on a confirmation. Susan Collins of Maine, in a tough re-election bid there, says she won't consider a nomination, leaving the most suspect member of the United States Senate being Mitt Romney. What do you think? The president says he has 5 nominees on his short list. Amy Coney Barrett, Barbara Lagoa among those. What do you anticipate over the next 43 days as we head to Election Day? I mean, they don't have to be done by Election Day. They could confirm a week later or 2 weeks after Election Day. But what do you anticipate?
My anticipation, the way things are going right now, and of course anything could happen in this environment, is that a new nominee will be confirmed before Election Day. I think that the senators so far and Senator McConnell and the president all seem to want that most of all. And I think that they will find a way to get the votes for that.
And who do you think that, Amy Coney Barrett has been on the short list for quite some time. Barbara Lagoa is on the list. Amal Thapur of Kentucky on the list. Is there anybody that you look at on this list and say, that's the person I think is most likely to get the nod?
I think Amy Coney Barrett right now seems to be the front runner because she was a contender, finalist last time. She's got a great track record. She is also someone, beyond being a top-notch jurist, would also be someone who I think would rally and be good electorally for the president. So I could see there's some reasons for Lagoa along similar lines, but I really think she's the top notch. So instead of talking about the notorious RBG, we'll be talking about the notorious ACB going forward.
All right, we'll see what happens. And Professor, I'm sure we'll have you back to sort it out as you keep your eye on it, and we'll keep a finger on the pulse. Thank you for joining us here today.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
There you have it. That's Professor Adam Carrington, Hillsdale College. And so, Tudor, as you look at this, as we break this all down and look at where we go from here, clearly some doubt about how we proceed from here. All right, so let's talk about what AOC does say, because we've talked about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's been among those that have been the most vocal. We heard from her here just a moment ago in the program. And Tudor, she is among those leading the charge to stop this nomination and confirmation, basically at any cost.
Yeah, absolutely. She has said we need more justices. Let's listen to that now. Maybe we don't have that, but
Republicans do want to move forward in breaking all their previous convention, then we should leave all options on the table, including the numbers of justices that are on the Supreme Court.
Would you be in favor of expanding the court?
I think that's absolutely an option that we should be weighing.
This has been something we've been hearing a lot, expanding the court. We'll probably hear Trump talk about that at his rally today. We actually have David Zier down there right now. I want to go to him now, and then we'll come back.
People are lining up hours and hours before Trump coming into town. And especially here in Toledo, Trump's doing 2 rallies today, one in Dayton at 4:30, and he's coming in here at 7 p.m. It's only about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, and there's a couple of thousand people, pulling up and hanging out. And all these people are just so great at the Trump rallies. They're just middle Americans looking to preserve their businesses and get government out of their life, right? So it's really amazing what's going on here. Trump is ahead 5 points in the polls right now in Ohio. Now, the national polling says Biden is 8 points behind, but everywhere we go, it seems like there's almost unanimous support for Trump. We were just in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, which is only a few hours from here, and 20% of the people who are attending the rally and the man on the street interviews that we did are were Democrats and independents, and they voted for Hillary in 2016. So there's been like a seismic shift. You know, Trump was down 19 points in 10 of the top swing counties in Pennsylvania just in July, and now he's ahead by 2 points at least. I think the same may be going for Ohio. Toledo's had some economic problems. There's a big steel plant being built that's supposed to be delivered by the end of the year. You know, and their industry has been like auto. It's been damaged over the years, but I think it's coming back. And it's an interesting mix. Toledo, Ohio is 65% white, and the average age is 34 years old, and women are 51% of the vote. So it's a real interesting dynamic of middle America, working class families. And this crowd is getting fired up here. Martin, you want to look at the crowd here? Hey, how's everybody today? Everybody good? Yeah, and it's still early. It's still early. Just waiting for a couple hours, right? It's going to be electric as usual. And we don't know where Trump gets all of his energy from. You know, last week he was in Wisconsin, North Carolina. Now he's in Dayton and Toledo, and tomorrow he's in Pittsburgh. So, and then he's off, I believe, to Jacksonville on Thursday. So it's an incredible amount of energy going on. Nobody knows, you know, how he quite does it. But these Trump supporters are just as energetic. And there's been Trump car rallies. There was one in Ohio last week with 20,000 cars on the Indiana border. So this is Dave Zia. We're going to go back to the studio.
The hottest new razor is taking the men's grooming world by storm. And if you don't have it, you need it. Micro Touch Solo, the hyper-advanced full-body razor that trims, shapes, edges, and even shaves with micro precision. And it's totally safe to the touch. Go solo for full body control with one tool. No nicks, bumps, or ingrown hairs. Edge beards and goatees with one touch. Clean your neck, barber shop perfect. And check this out. Snap on the guide to tame growth and perfectly shape your full beard. And keep new growth stubble trimmed exactly to your style. And look, the Solo Full Body Groomer trims precisely the length of hair you want. Snap off the guide and remove unwanted hair anywhere in seconds. What makes Solo different than your ordinary razor? Dual-sided German stainless steel blade. Shave up or down at 200 microstrokes per second. The Ultra Flex pivoting head contours perfectly to you for precise results. 3 custom grooming guides for control of exact length and shape. And a built-in LED light so you never miss a spot. Solo is so precise, you need no creams, no soaps, and no water. Ditch the old man clippers and toss the scissors. You've got to go solo. Call 1-800-709-9777 or go online at microtouchsolo.com and get yours now for only $19.99. Complete with German stainless steel blade, pivoting head, built-in spotlight, and 3 custom grooming guides. Everything you see here for just $19.99. The all-new MicroTouch Solo Full Body Groomer. The one tool that does it all.
So, Steve, you and I are both in Michigan, and you know that our Secretary of State decided to send out applications for absentee ballots to everyone in the state, and some people have not been thrilled with that idea. In fact, one person decided to make their own place to deposit ballots in their front yard. And this is a picture of it we can put up on the screen. Place mail-in ballots here. Well, someone did not like that, Steve, and they decided that they were going to call the police because this is election interference. Because I'm not sure if you were aware of this, but a toilet is not an acceptable receptacle for absentee ballots. You are not allowed to do that in this state.
The person
Karen
that called the police was the county clerk of the county that, strangely enough, I happen to live in. This is my county clerk. Barb Byram is the woman's name, and apparently she said, well, it's a felony to tell people to put their ballots in the wrong place. Let me put it this way, Barb. If people don't realize the toilet's not the place you put your ballot when you're done filling it out, maybe they shouldn't vote. I'll just throw that out there, Barb. Maybe it's a good idea to let them sit this one out. I just say that. Meanwhile, speaking of Michigan, the pride and joy of Michigan, one of Tudor's favorites, in fact, Michael Moore, speaking out again. She loves him. Just absolutely adores him. You have no idea. She's got posters, everything. Michael Moore, one of the guys that called the 2016 election accurately. Oh, by the way, so did I. But Michael Moore said it'd be a big old F-U to Washington if Trump won. He saw it coming. Does he see it coming again? He just might. And he says that Biden, why are you ignoring the black community of Michigan? Here's Michael Moore.
We're sending in the Army Corps of Engineers as soon as we're in the White House. And we're going to dig up the poison pipes and finally put clean pipes in there. And this problem will go away like that. And that people in Flint need to hear that.
Interesting. Anyhow, you know, I didn't mean to tell people about your poster collection, the little bobblehead you've got of Michael Moore. I mean, I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Somebody's got to be a fan.
But you have to give him credit. You have to give my friend Michael Moore credit that he is calling out what they're not doing. And even though, he is a Bernie bro, so you have to remember that he's a Bernie fan. But he is calling out the fact that, Joe, there's a community in Michigan that would like to hear from you here, and you're not talking to them. Now, other people called him out on Florida, and he went there. Maybe that's what my friend Michael is thinking, but I'm not sure. Meanwhile, there is another state that wants some attention. California, Fresno, California. They'd like to open back up, and we have Ben out there on the scene, Ben Bergquam. Ben, tell us what's going on at this rally you're at.
We have to take action because we've got, thanks Tudor and Steve, we've got hundreds of business owners that are behind me that have said enough is enough. If casinos can be open, if we can have rioting in the streets, if we can be letting prisoners out of prison, then small businesses and churches need to be open. And the message today that I'm hearing from them is October 1st, open. Whether or not the governor says open, it's time to open. I actually had the opportunity, Erica, the salon owner, who owns the salon in San Francisco where Nancy Pelosi came in to get her haircut, was here. And she's actually moved back to Fresno, started a new salon here. This is like the last haven of freedom in the state of California. So we've got, again, hundreds of business owners out here, church pastors and individuals and citizens that are just sick of the lockdown.
Ben, do you think that people are really going to allow that to happen? I mean, the officials, the state officials, Governor Newsom and all the rest, if the business owners say, hey, we're just going to open up, which I fully understand their point of view. I'd want to open up as well. But don't you think that some of the more heavy-handed politicians are going to say, you can't do that. I'm in charge around here. What do you expect to have happen?
Well, it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag. So some of the businesses have licenses through the state of California, and the state can hang that over their head, like ABC, the liquor licenses. Some of them are only county or city licenses. So those ones can flout it and really not have much of an impact from the state. The question is, do enough businesses decide to do it to where to back down? You know, one or two businesses do it, and they can squash it. And we've seen that here locally. But if hundreds of businesses do it across the state of California, there's absolutely no way that the government, especially that's going bankrupt because we've been shut down. They're actually talking about raising taxes in the climate where 50% of the businesses that have been closed for the last 6 months will not reopen. That's how insane this has gotten. I think if we hit critical mass with the number of businesses that decide to open, there's nothing the state can do about it.
Ben Bergquam, thank you so much for reporting from that rally. We appreciate it. And Steve, it's interesting. It's going to happen across the country, actually. You're going to see people, especially now that the weather is going to be colder here in the Midwest and on the East Coast, you're going to see restaurants and those folks saying, we've got to reopen. We have to be able to open to 100% capacity. Here in Michigan, restaurants are at 50% capacity. We know on the East Coast, many restaurants are at 25 or 30% capacity. They were able to raise that over the summertime because you could expand into the parking lot. A lot of places places, even in my own office building, down at the bottom of my office building, there's a restaurant. They expanded into the parking lot. That's not going to happen for many more days here in Michigan. So you're going to see these rallies across the country. It will be interesting to see how Democrats respond, because I want to remind you of how Governor Whitmer responded to the first Reopen Michigan rally that happened here a few months back. And she said this was before, obviously, George Floyd and that rioting. And she condemned that, said it was dangerous. And then she marched alongside Black Lives Matter. So what do you expect from these Democrat governors and mayors when they have people saying, we're done, this is the date, we're reopening regardless?
Well, when you talk about places of business closing, more than 1 in 4 of Michigan restaurants and hotels closing because of the lockdowns, financially no longer viable. When you look at New York City, the restaurant owners there have told the mayor, we can't survive if you continue doing this to us. And one of the reasons you go to New York City is for the great food. Well, the great food is closing up permanently. And so you look at these different places all over the country, whether it's Fresno, California, New York City, or in Michigan where you and I live, Tudor. The fact of the matter is these government shutdowns, these mandates, have created a financial obstacle that is insurmountable to so many business owners that they will never overcome it. In fact, it could be a generational problem, and some of these businesses will never reopen, because we're at 1 in 4 now where we are. The same is going to be true in communities all over this country. And it's getting worse. Every day, more businesses closed, more jobs lost, hope dashed. Even though the economy is coming back and fighting back, the president can only do so much. They can only get so far back. Unemployment can only be so low if the Democrats keep everything closed for business. We'll have more on this and so much more straight ahead on America's Voice Live.
Do you have any idea how your mattress affects your body and how well you sleep? Is it too hard or too soft, causing you to wake up with sore shoulders, back, or hips? Are you uncomfortable because you're too hot or too cold? Now you can get the total body support you need and the better sleep you want with the new MyPillow mattress topper.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. When I invented my new MyPillow mattress topper, I made it to have everything you'd ever want in a topper. My mattress topper helps give you the support you need, helps relieve your pressure points, and regulates your body temperature for you as an individual. It comes with a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry the cover. It's made in the USA, and I back it with my 60-day money-back guarantee.
Go to MyPillow.com or call now to get your very own MyPillow mattress topper. Use the promo code and Mike will give you 30% off and 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free. Order now.
MyPillow topper delivers on its promise to give me a better night's sleep.
I can sleep all night through, and it's a miracle for me.
Mike's exclusive 3-layer design starts with a layer of MyPillow foam, providing you superior support and comfort. The second layer of transitional foam evenly distributes body weight and helps relieve uncomfortable pressure points for optimal comfort. Mike's ultra soft outer layer is a patented temperature-regulating cover that helps keep you at your ideal sleeping temperature all night long. Unlike other sleep systems costing thousands, the MyPillow mattress topper takes comfort to a whole new level without any wires, remotes, or moving parts. Call now or go to MyPillow.com to order your MyPillow topper. Use the promo code to save 30%. When you do, Mike will give you 2 of his standard MyPillows absolutely free. That's right, 2 standard MyPillows free and 30% off your MyPillow topper today. Order now.
I personally guarantee it's going to change your bed into the most comfortable bed you'll ever own.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Well, violence in the streets of America we have seen for weeks and months now, correct, Tudor? We've seen that going on for quite some time, and it's been startling, but what we saw here recently in Rochester was a really frightening situation, I believe. Hand it back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyhow, yeah. And our own Jessica Rivera is here to join us to talk more about this mass shooting in Rochester. Rochester, there were 14 people injured. 2 teens were killed, Jessica. It was an absolute horrendous evening and just a terrible weekend in Rochester, New York. What can you tell us?
It absolutely was, Tudor and Steve. And, you know, I was looking up Rochester just because
I hadn't really heard of the city before. I mean, I've heard of it, but I didn't really know much about crime there. It seemed pretty quiet to me, but in actuality, this isn't so surprising for the area. According to Rochester's crime rate, 42 of 1,000 residents become victims yearly. So, crime here is no surprise. It makes Rochester one of the highest crime rates in the nation compared to small and large cities, and it's not that large of a city, to be honest, and it's the 5th most dangerous city in upstate New York. And a person has a 1 in 24 chance of becoming a victim of either a crime, which is a violent crime, or a property crime there. So there's no surprise that crime is taking place. I think it's been more quiet lately just because of COVID and the shutdowns, but this didn't seem to matter, and it is very sad that this took place. 2 people lost their lives. They were not the intended victims, and I'm thinking that police are trying to still figure out the situation, but it seems like it may have been some sort of gang relations at this point, but they're not positive on that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Rochester has certainly been in the news quite a bit since the death of Daniel Prude, and we've seen the protests there. It's a city we don't hear in the news that often, so I see what you're saying, but something I learned today from you, Jessica, there is a higher crime rate there than I had thought. Now, I want to talk about a story in Tennessee, a family. This is just shocking to me. The husband shot right in front of his pregnant wife. They were on their way to church on Sunday morning, and they were carjacked, essentially. The carjacker then killed the husband, drove off with the wife. The police ended up saving them. But this is not a typical story that we hear every day, is it?
It isn't, especially in the area of Tennessee. But officials made it very clear, and they made a point to point out that the suspect, who is deceased, D'Angelo Dorsey, didn't have a warrant out for his arrest. And I thought that was interesting, right? He's a black gentleman, African American. But what they failed to mention about Dorsey is that he had a long criminal history in the state of Missouri, going back all the way to 2011 for crimes like armed robbery, which he went to prison for. 2 years later, while he was on probation, Dorsey was charged with unlawful possession of a weapon. For that crime, Dorsey should have been on parole until 2023. But of course, as we all know, a lot of elected officials and judges seem to be very lenient on criminals these days. And so that's why he was out in Tennessee yesterday with no probation, nobody tracking him. So he didn't have a warrant out. He was able to be there in Tennessee. So my thought is, when we're researching a lot of these crime stories and these repeat offenders that should be in prison or probation, the real answer is, until judges and other elected officials are actually held accountable for these crimes that these criminals continue, because these aren't just one-time crimes. These are violent criminals that continue to do this. Every time they get out, it's just time after time after time, but they want to be so soft on crime. But until it affects their family, there really isn't anything that's going to be done. There's not going to be anything different. This will just continue throughout the nation, and people need to start, deciding who they bring into these positions, elected officials in cities and these judges, because this is what we're dealing with nationwide right now.
Yeah, the revolving door of crime, and when you have bail issues and you're releasing people with no cash bail in New York City and elsewhere, or you saw, of course, what happened in Minneapolis, where Kamala Harris and others were putting up the money to get out rioters from jail, you have problems, obviously. One other story I want to get to before we get to the break here, and that is mail carriers in Chicago are saying they're not going to carry the mail, Jessica, because they're being shot at. And they're not going to deliver the mail in Chicago if they're going to put their lives on the line. They're willing to do it through rain, sleet, snow, and hail, but not a hail of gunfire.
Yeah, and they shouldn't. They didn't sign up to put their lives on the lines like police officers do or first responders do. And Mac Julian of the National Association of Letter Carriers says they shouldn't be delivering. They shouldn't be doing their routes if they feel that they're unsafe. And I couldn't agree anymore, because this is not what they signed up for, and things need to change if people want people to be doing their jobs the way they should be, and they shouldn't have to fear for their lives, especially if we're talking about a position like a postal carrier. I mean, it's
Sure.
actually quite ridiculous at this point.
Jessica, thank you so much. She's absolutely right, Steve. In the midst of mail-in voting, this is, I mean, it's not something to laugh at, but you have the Democrats complaining, and their cities are the ones where mail carriers can't go out. You can't make this stuff up. We'll be right back after this break.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly meeting?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this.
Let's stack the deck.
When legends play, they wear Copperfit Advanced Back Pro. Copperfit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain, and it's affecting your everyday life. You do something.
If you can find something to help you get back out and be active like Copperfit, go for it.
Absolutely.
Do not give up.
A high-performance compression fabric infused with the powerful properties of copper, 360-degree flexible mobility, and lightweight, durable construction.
Nothing more painful than having back pains. If you're aching, if you feel like you can't work out anymore, you can. And that's with Copperfit.
Yeah. It's for all of us who still want to be active, still want to compete.
Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, this really does feel good. It feels to me like the fountain of youth.
Copperfit's best-selling back support just got bigger, badder, and better. Or call 1-800-944-5851. Or on the web at advancedbackpro.com. Get yours now for only $19.99.
This does feel good.
That's what I've been saying.
You think it was fair?
It was fun.
Play for the love of the game.
Copperfit, live limitless.
Steve, the big story of the day, of course, is the sad news we learned over the weekend that Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away at the age of 87. She did have cancer. There were cancer complications. She did pass away. She had a long time as Supreme Court Justice, and she was a justice who was a woman who fought against cultural and legal norm. She was an incredible lady. It's something we've been talking about, whether you agreed with her or not. She was a pioneer. She really, the things that you've said about her, Steve, about the fact that she started school in a time when women didn't go to college. Women in the 1950s, less than 2% went to college, let alone law school. But you see that she went to law school, and then even though she couldn't get jobs as a lawyer places, she worked her way up until she could and ultimately became a Supreme Court justice. We look at that life and say, for little girls, it was such a huge undertaking. Someone had to do it, and it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And she spent much of her career fighting for equal rights, and she, as you mentioned, she became a beloved pop culture icon, going viral when a New York University student, law student, dubbed her the notorious RBG, which is what a lot of us are calling her these days. But she was nominated to the Supreme Court by Bill Clinton, and she was confirmed on August 3rd of that same year. She is someone that little girls, like I said, they could admire her, but not just for the accomplishment. She had this great demeanor about her, Steve, something that everybody talks about. She was good friends with Justice Scalia. She was always level-headed. She said, don't bring anger to an argument. It's something to always talk through. She was really someone that people could look at as a mentor and an icon, and someone that we could all learn from. She ended up serving 27 years on the Supreme Court. But what's interesting about Friday night is that President Trump was in the middle of a campaign rally when he learned the news of Justice Ginsburg's death. And he had a really unique and genuine reaction to it, didn't he, Steve?
He certainly did. The president coming off a 95-minute speech. The news of Ginsburg's passing came about 10 minutes into the speech, so therefore the president had no idea that Ruth Bader Ginsburg had died at the age of 87 after 27 years on the court. And so it was a surprise announcement. I'm guessing that the reporter that asked the question was able to get that in, was expecting a different kind of reaction. What he got was measured and complimentary and showed sympathy for the loss of what some people consider to be one of the more important Supreme Court justices of all time. Listen to what the president had to say. Here he is as he comes off the stage.
She just died? Wow. I didn't know that. You're telling me now for the first time. She led an amazing life. What else can you say? She was an amazing woman. Whether you agreed or not, she was an amazing woman who led an amazing life. I'm actually sad to hear that. I am sad to hear that. Thank you very much.
And as we set the guidelines here, I mean, make no mistake, Tudor, the battle lines were drawn long before Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. Everyone knew if she died while Donald Trump was in office that the wars would be unlike anything we've ever seen before in the confirmation process, even making what happened to Brett Kavanaugh look fairly mild by comparison. That's what I'm anticipating here. The president says he won't announce who the replacement will be, says he has 5 people on the list. But he will not announce that replacement until Friday or Saturday. He's doing what he should do. He's allowing for the respect of the nation to be allowed. He's allowed for that period of mourning to go forward. He's not stepping on the headline by announcing today or tomorrow. He's waiting until Friday, maybe Saturday. He believes that the services will be held on Thursday. If that's the case, I would expect an announcement Friday. If the services are held Friday, I would expect that announcement on Saturday. We're told he has 5 people on the short list. We'll see who he picks. But from there, all the pleasantries will quickly evaporate, as we have already seen, Tudor. It's going to be an unpleasant process, to say the least.
Absolutely. We've already seen Nancy Pelosi come out and say that there could be any number of weapons. What did she say? Any number of arrows in her quiver that she could pull out at any time. They're talking about another impeachment. Here's Nancy Pelosi and her reaction to this.
Some have mentioned the possibility, if they try to push through a nominee in a lame duck session, that you in the House could move to impeach President Trump or Attorney General Barr as a way of stalling and preventing the Senate from acting on this nomination.
Well, we have our options. We have arrows in our quiver that I'm not about to discuss right now.
I'm not sure that she does, though, because when I watch that, she looks nervous. This was exactly what they did not want to have happen. But many people have pointed out that Justice Ginsburg, this was her 4th bout with cancer. She had the opportunity to retire under Obama, but she chose not to, knowing that there were 4 more years that she would have to go through these medical emergencies. And so she found out in February that she had lesions on her liver, that they were cancerous, and that she was fighting that. People behind the scenes knew, but they were just hoping and praying that she would come through this.
What is truly remarkable, honestly, is that she stuck it out this long. But let's be honest about this. I think she, along with many other Americans, believed that Hillary Clinton was going to win the presidency, and therefore she was in a safe position. She never anticipated the idea that Donald Trump would win the election in 2016, as he did. Now, speaking of the president, there are some names that continue to circulate around inside the Beltway in D.C., up on Capitol Hill, of likely replacements for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. At the top of the list, I think it's safe to say Amy Coney Barrett is there. She's just 48 years old. She currently sits on the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, a position she was nominated to and confirmed to back in 2017. Now, she is a woman that during her confirmation hearings, Dianne Feinstein and others took issue with her Catholicism, the fact that she's a devout Catholic. They raised issues over that. I would expect to hear more about that if she becomes the nominee. She also has 7 children, 1 with Down syndrome, 2 more that she adopted from the nation of Haiti. She is an unimpeachable figure in many ways, but the Democrats are at a fever pitch, to say the least, threatening to burn down the institutions of Congress, are some people on social media. Another name at the top of the list, Barbara Lagoa. She is of Cuban descent and from Miami-Dade. She currently sits on the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. Miami-Dade, no region more important to Florida when the votes are cast than that part of Florida. So reaching out to a Hispanic nominee, Barbara Lagoa, might be a consideration for the president as he considers who his nominee is going to be. Again, he says an announcement is imminent come Friday, maybe Saturday at the latest, giving them something on the order of 38, 39 days to complete a confirmation if they can get up and down. Now, having said that, Tudor, make no mistake, this is what Mitch McConnell has prepared for his entire professional life. Mitch McConnell has been able to oversee Donald Trump getting more than 215 federal judges seated, 2 to the nation's high court, 55 to the nation's courts of appeals on the federal level, plus another 160 plus federal judges. The impact of Donald Trump's presidency, even if it ends in January 2021, is immense when it comes to the reshaping of the federal courts. If a third Supreme Court justice is seated by way of Donald Trump, I believe it's unprecedented in modern times. I don't think any other president in their first term had 3 shots of nominees to the Supreme Court. In fact, I can't find it. I've looked. I've researched. It's a pretty remarkable opportunity. Consider that Barack Obama got 2. George W. Bush got 2 in 8 years, both of them. So to have 3 in the first term, Tudor, is quite a remarkable turn of events.
Absolutely, and it will be very difficult for Democrats to come against these women. They have impeccable records. They've both been first in their state for certain seats that they've held, and many of them were put in those positions by Democrats, including Kamala Harris. And so how will these people come back and fight putting them on the Supreme Court? When you see Lagoa was put on the Florida Supreme Court by these exact same people who are voting her in, how will they fight this? It will be very interesting to see, but you've pointed out their records, their history, their family life. It's going to be a difficult fight, but somehow we'll see it play out, and we will bring it to you all here on America's Voice Live. Quick break. We'll be right back.
The hottest new razor is taking the men's grooming world by storm. And if you don't have it, you need it. Micro Touch Solo, the hyper-advanced full-body razor that trims, shapes, edges, and even shaves with micro precision. And it's totally safe to the touch. Go solo for full body control with one tool. No nicks, bumps, or ingrown hairs. Edge beards and goatees with one touch. Clean your neck, barber shop perfect. And check this out. Snap on the guide to tame growth and perfectly shape your full beard. And keep new growth stubble trimmed exactly to your style. And look, the Solo Full Body Groomer trims precisely the length of hair you want. Snap off the guide and remove unwanted hair anywhere in seconds. What makes Solo different than your ordinary razor? Dual-sided German stainless steel blade. Shave up or down at 200 microstrokes per second. The Ultra Flex pivoting head contours perfectly to you for precise results. 3 custom grooming guides for control of exact length and shape. And a built-in LED light so you never miss a spot. Solo is so precise, you need no creams, no soaps, and no water. Ditch the old man clippers and toss the scissors. You've got to go solo. Call 1-800-709-9777 or go online at microtouchsolo.com and get yours now for only $19.99. Complete with German stainless steel blade, pivoting head, built-in spotlight, and 3 custom grooming guides. Everything you see here for just $19.99. The all-new MicroTouch Solo Full Body Groomer. The one tool that does it all.
President Trump is back on the campaign trail today, Tudor. He's in the state of Ohio. That's also where we find our own David Zier, where there's going to be a rally coming up here in just a little bit. David, what's happening where you are?
Well, as usual, there are people as far as the eye can see. If you could see past me here, it goes all the way down. We're here at the Toledo Airport with the 180th air wing with the F-16s flying over, doing flybys and touch and goes. It's very exciting. There's a packed house here today.
So what do you expect to hear from the president tonight? We would obviously expect to hear him talk about the vacancy on the United States Supreme Court. But in Ohio's pivotal to the president. I'd expect him to talk about the economy as well, David, real quick.
Well, the economy here in Toledo has been through a lot of ups and downs. You know, the steel industry, the auto industry. Cleveland Cliffs is back processing iron ore here. The Jeep plant is back here up and running. And from our man on the street interviews here, people are doing well. They've seen the economy. One person said it's up fivefold here since Trump took office. So I think Trump's going to win this state again. And he's ahead by 5 points. So these people are all middle-class workers here in the manufacturing sector and small businesses.
It's important.
And everyone seems to be doing better here.
David Zier, thank you so much for checking in from Ohio. Tudor, we'll hear more from David and the team out there as we'll be covering the rally here on the network later tonight. So we'll keep you up to date with some details in just a moment. Tudor?
Absolutely. And I want to talk more about Justice Ginsburg and that seat that's left open because the president has come forward and said that he would definitely be choosing a woman for that seat. I want to bring in Carrie Sheffield from Just the News to talk to her about this. Carrie, what do you know about this potential pick? We're hearing it's going to be Friday or Saturday. What is your view on it being a woman?
Well, the president has said very directly that it will be a woman. The president was on Fox News this morning, and he did say again that it would be a woman, that he would be announcing her name either on Friday or Saturday of this week. I will say there's a website or an article on our website on justthenews.com where I looked at the sense of urgency in terms of the Trump perspective on this, and that is there is currently all across this country right now a lot of confusion around COVID and around lawsuits around balloting and elections and mailing and ballot harvesting, all sorts of conflicting legal rulings that we're seeing. And so there is certainly a sense of urgency that is brought to this because right now there is a very real chance that the Supreme Court could decide who is the next president. We saw this in 2000, and this could potentially make the hanging chads of Florida look like child's play when we're talking about the level of complexity all across the country of these inferior courts. And so if we don't have clarity at the Supreme Court, where are we going to get clarity at all?
I see our viewers on social media talking all the time about the fact that if this is not decided by Inauguration Day, then the Speaker of the House becomes president. What is the process? Is that how that happens and then it goes to the Supreme Court? And if we have a Supreme Court 4-4, how does that work?
Well, in terms of the way that the Chads hanging in Florida, the way that played out, it was disputes about counting and disputes about how the methodology of balloting was happening in Florida. I would expect, given that there is so much confusion right now across the entire country, whether it's lawsuits potentially in Pennsylvania, lawsuits in Iowa that the Trump campaign have brought. Jenna Ellis is an expert who is tracking all of these lawsuits that the Trump campaign is bringing forward. Also legal challenges in Nevada. I mean, there are so many potential legal disputes here. And the way it played out in 2000, again, it was a bit more narrowly focused because it was focused on one state. And so without a kind of Supreme Court clear-eyed look at what's happening across the country, there could be a lot of confusion. So in terms of the actual legal structure of how this would proceed, I think it really comes down to what's going to happen on November 3rd in terms of will there be a clear victory? If there's an overwhelming clear victory in terms of the Electoral College in one direction or the other, that could dissipate. However, I don't expect that either side is going to go down without a fight. I think it's too soon to talk about what would happen in terms of anything beyond that, whether that's Speaker of the House or this being kicked over to the House. Constitutionally, I think that the battle right now would still be at the judicial level. But again, this battle right now with the Supreme Court seat, I think is it just very prescient, or it's very much foreshadowing what I think we're going to see on November 3rd.
If the president nominates on Friday or Saturday, does that mean that we have enough time before the election to actually get this person confirmed? And what do you expect to see from the Senate on this?
Well, it's interesting. The Federalist put out a long list of precedents where you had an even more compressed timeline. So there were 45 days from when Justice Ginsburg passed away, may she rest in peace, to Election Day. So there are certainly precedents where there was a shorter timeline. I believe in one case it was only 19 days of a turnaround between the naming and the approval. So we're about, I think, 42 days out now, 41 days. If it comes down to 39 days or 38 or 37, that's certainly very much within the band of precedents when other justices have been seated. Again, a lot of this depends on timing. Senator Chuck Grassley from the Judiciary Committee is going to be key in determining what the timeline of the Judiciary Committee vote on this will be. And obviously, any potential swing voters from senators. The Republicans currently have a 53-vote seat majority, but we do know that 2 Republican senators have said that they wanted to wait until after Inauguration Day or the new president, either Trump re-inaugurated or Biden, that the Lisa Murkowski from Alaska has said she would not vote until the election, as well as Susan Collins from Maine. So that's 2 down. I would keep an eye out, though, for Doug Jones, who's a Democrat from a very vulnerable state in terms of his electoral prospects. He took the seat of Jeff Sessions, who was elevated to become the DO Attorney General for President Trump, and that seat he got by appointment of the governor. He did win a special election, but by a very razor-thin margin. He's very vulnerable because Trump did win his state by a very large margin in 2016. He might be persuaded to vote for President Trump's nominee, but the margins are very thin in either direction here for the president.
It's going to be an interesting 40 days for sure. Thank you, Carrie Sheffield, Just the News. Always appreciate having you on. Steve, it's going to be interesting. I know that you made the comment that there are folks that can still say they're not going to vote on this, but then vote, not vote to vote, but then vote on the actual justice.
Well, that's exactly right. Oh, by the way, the record between nomination and confirmation in an election year in the 20th century, 5 days. 5 days. It can be done up and down very fast. America's Voice Live. We'll be back in a moment.
Do you have any idea how your mattress affects your body and how well you sleep? Is it too hard or too soft, causing you to wake up with sore shoulders, back, or hips? Are you uncomfortable because you're too hot or too cold? Now you can get the total body support you need and the better sleep you want with the new MyPillow mattress topper.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. When I invented my new MyPillow mattress topper, I made it to have everything you'd ever want in a topper. My mattress topper helps give you the support you need, helps relieve your pressure points, and regulates your body temperature for you as an individual. It comes with a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry the cover. It's made in the USA, and I back it with my 60-day money-back guarantee.
Go to MyPillow.com or call now to get your very own MyPillow mattress topper. Use the promo code and Mike will give you 30% off and 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free. Order now.
MyPillow topper delivers on its promise to give me a better night's sleep.
I can sleep all night through, and it's a miracle for me.
Mike's exclusive 3-layer design starts with a layer of MyPillow foam, providing you superior support and comfort. The second layer of transitional foam evenly distributes body weight and helps relieve uncomfortable pressure points for optimal comfort. Mike's ultra soft outer layer is a patented temperature regulating cover that helps keep you at your ideal sleeping temperature all night long. Unlike other sleep systems costing thousands, the MyPillow mattress topper takes comfort to a whole new level without any wires, remotes, or moving parts. Call now or go to MyPillow.com to order your MyPillow topper. Use the promo code to save 30%. When you do, Mike will give you 2 of his standard MyPillows absolutely free. That's right, 2 standard MyPillows free and 30% off your MyPillow topper today. Order now.
I personally guarantee it's going to change your bed into the most comfortable bed you'll ever own.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Just before the break, I told you the record is 5 days. That happened in 1912 between nomination and confirmation. That happened with Malin Pitney under President Taft. In July of 1916, Woodrow Wilson made a selection that was confirmed in 10 days. So it can happen. It can be done. And earlier today here on the on the America's Voice Network. I spoke with William Wagner, professor, former federal judge and prosecutor, about the process. You'll hear a lot about the process going forward. I wanted to share part of that conversation with you right here. If you have Republican or Democrat control, it can change the trajectory of the state and where we're going to end up. Joining me now is Rich Studley, the president and CEO of the Michigan Chamber of Commerce, where they're also watching very closely what happens in Michigan, an important swing state on the federal level, but what happens at the state house if Democrats flip control in their favor. Rich, welcome back.
Good morning, Steve. Sorry I dialed the wrong number this morning and ended up talking to the boss, Ivy.
That's okay. She likes you to check in from time to time. It's perfectly fine. At any rate, people are all focused on, obviously, with Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the pandemic, and all of these things are focused on the federal government and all of these things. But while that's going on, others over here in many states are trying to figure out how to win seats at the statewide level for House and Senate control in the many states. It's also a critical series of battles, isn't it?
It is. Often in government, especially at the state and local level, the most important decision is who decides. Steve, this weekend I received a copy of an email that Governor Whitmer sent to supporters. The subject line was flipping the Michigan House. And I want to share this quote with you. While everyone is focused on the race for president, we also need to be laser focused on flipping the Michigan State House. We need to flip our House to move a progressive agenda forward. We need to win big up and down the ballot across the state. The key words there are progressive agenda, not a Democratic agenda, not a liberal agenda, not a pro-family agenda or pro-worker agenda, but a progressive agenda. What would a progressive member agenda look like in the State House? Well, I guess as first up would be an effort to defund the police. What happens when a neighborhood or community is without law enforcement? Well, we know from looking at Portland and other cities. What happens if you wake up one morning and your place of business or place of employment is suddenly in the middle of a war zone?
All right, well, we apologize for that. Obviously, it was the wrong interview. Rich Studley was talking about local Senate and House races in the different states, which are also very important this fall. But the real process conversation comes down to how the Supreme Court is going to be put back together, with Ruth Bader Ginsburg now dying just 45 days before Election Day. And so the challenge then becomes what's real and what's not, because you're going to be told a whole lot of things that just aren't the truth. You're going to be told that there have to be hearings and there has to be a deferment on a selection in an election year. None of those things are true, of course. The Constitution is very open on this. In fact, they say the president nominates and then gets the advice and the consent of the United States Senate. It's a very straightforward process in recent years. It's become much more confrontational in recent years. As I was telling you before the break, the shortest time was 5 days between March 13th and March 18th of 1912, an election year. And William Howard Taft had made a nomination to Mahlon Pitney that year. Now, in 1916, Woodrow Wilson, in the middle of July, nominated John Clark to the United States Supreme Court. He was unanimously confirmed 10 days later. They didn't have television back then, you see. You didn't have people running for office that wanted to pontificate and give speeches in front of the cameras back then. In 1940, Franklin Roosevelt nominated Frank Murphy. It only took 12 days to get him to fill in on the court. So as you look historically at those that have been put on the court, I can tell you there are numerous occasions that say no. If there's a vacancy, you fill the vacancy. In fact, in 1957, Dwight Eisenhower made a recess appointment to the United States Supreme Court. Could you imagine if Donald Trump made a recess appointment to the United States Supreme Court? Heads would explode. Because the problem we have in America today, in large part, nobody takes civics classes anymore. These young people among us, many of them, and even older folks as well, they don't have any idea at all how their government works. They read something on social media and they think they're an expert. Well, my buddy told me this. So what? Your buddy doesn't know what he's talking about. They don't understand that once the nomination happens and there's a process, advise and consent. In fact, You could send out letters to each of the 100 senators, say, what's your advice? And then take up a vote the next day. It's however Mitch McConnell decides to do it. Politically speaking, there are some hazards there because of tradition and what people have come to expect in the day and age of television. They want to see the hearings. They want to see the nominee out there tutor. They want to know what's happening next. But it doesn't always work that way.
It'll be, like I said, it'll be an interesting 40 days in the next month for sure. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I guarantee you they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best sleep of my life.
They are so soft and smooth. I never slept so good.
I fall asleep faster because I'm actually comfortable.
I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable, which is why I can give you my full 10-year warranty. But I didn't stop there. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. I guarantee you the first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now. MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors and will be the softest, most comfortable sheets you will ever own. Use the promo code and get 2 for 1 low price, plus free shipping. Giza Dreams are made with the finest, most sought-after cotton in the world. Giza cotton was once reserved for only the finest dress shirts, but is now available in Mike's Giza Dream Sheets. They feature a beautiful silky sateen weave that helps keep you cool and comfortable all night long.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best rest of my life.
I love my Giza Dream Sheets. Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Use the promo code and Mike will give you a very special 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. That's right, get 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. Call or go online now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
The big news of the day is, of course, the passing of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And in that, we will be nominating a new Supreme Court justice. The president has the right to do that. That is his job. That is his role. Although you'll hear in the next month that from Democrats that that's not his role. In fact, we've even heard from Joe Biden that that's not his role and it's unconstitutional, but that is just simply not right. But one of the big issues, of course, as always, will be abortion. So we have Abby Johnson with us. She is an anti-abortion activist. Abby, big news. This is a big deal. What's your take on what's going to happen with the Supreme Court?
Yes, big news. And from what we are hearing from the White House, it sounds like President Trump will be making his nomination by Thursday or Friday of this week. He has said that he will be nominating a woman. He has a short list of about a dozen women that he will be choosing from. From what we understand, Amy Barrett is at the top of that list. So we're feeling confident about the choices that he's made.
So in the past, Amy Barrett has come out and said she doesn't see Roe v. Wade being overturned. Is there something else that you would like to see happen? Is there a way that you would like to see the abortion law changed in some way that would satisfy you?
Well, I think that we will see Roe overturned. I think that we have to bring the right case forward. I believe that Roe v. Wade is entirely unconstitutional. It is antiquated case law. It's based on antiquated science. And so I do believe that we will see Roe and Doe both overturned. But I do believe that we have to bring the right case based on science, based on medical technology. And I do believe that if he appoints a constitutionalist jurist to the Supreme Court, that we will see that happen.
So this is maybe a controversial question, but do you see a point when there could be some sort of a law in place where at 12 weeks, that's the cutoff, and that would be the law for abortion, and that would satisfy both sides? Or do you think that people who are pro-life say, absolutely no, we want no abortion?
I don't think so. I don't think that, I think that there, for some, I think some could say, well, okay, 12 weeks we'll give in there. But I think for most people, for people like me, we are here to say that life begins at the moment of conception, and that the taking of any innocent human life is barbaric, that it is wrong, and that it should not be legal. And so until life is protected, until that moment of conception, then we will continue to fight against any practice that takes that human life.
You spoke at the RNC, and your words were so powerful. I think it was a way that women who have not experienced an abortion were able to connect with it like we haven't ever before. It's something that has been a concept of surgery, but not really that, you even talked about the smell of abortion. You were obviously someone who worked in an abortion clinic very close. When you say it's a barbaric procedure, can you just explain that to our audience a little bit, why you're so adamant that this isn't even at 12 weeks? Because that fetus can feel, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, science has now come out and confirmed that the unborn child can feel pain as early as 12 weeks gestation, and some scientists will say even earlier, even possibly as early as 8 weeks. The unborn children in the womb, they have body parts by 12 weeks, even earlier. We're talking about a child with a beating heart as soon as 18 days post-conception. Brain waves begin functioning at 8 weeks in the womb. So every organ that we sit here with today is fully formed on a child at 12 weeks gestation. So these are human beings. To say they are not human beings is a lie. To say that they are not living human beings is a lie. And abortion violently tears them apart limb by limb in their mother's wombs. It is barbaric. It is unconscionable. And just as we look at other horrendous Holocausts that have taken place in our country and worldwide, historically, one day I pray that we will look at abortion the same way.
You said something earlier about science having changed since, or we know more since Roe v. Wade. So those stats that you just gave us about organs being formed and babies being able to feel at and maybe as early as 12 or 8 weeks, are those things that during that court case they just didn't know?
That's right. We didn't know. We didn't know many things about the unborn. We really didn't know hardly anything at all about the unborn in 1973. Ultrasound technology was really not available in 1973. In fact, Dr. Bernard Nathanson in the mid-'80s was the first one to really widely publicize ultrasound technology to the masses through his documentary called Silent Scream. And that documentary is what led to a mass exodus of doctors who had performed abortions, because that was really the first time that physicians got to see what was taking place to the unborn during abortion procedures. People had not seen the unborn on ultrasounds before. I was born in 1980. My mother never had an ultrasound with me before. This was new technology, even in the early 80s. So in 1973, we didn't know about the unborn. We didn't have DNA. We didn't have ultrasounds. Even, we see sometimes now geneticists, they can look in petri dishes and they can see that when sperm and egg, they call it the spark of life. You can actually see a spark when conception occurs. We didn't have all of that. So now we see that medical technology, science, it all lands on the side of life.
Oh, that is so powerful. Really quick, we have so many Black activists who are now coming out and saying Planned Parenthood puts 80% of their clinics into Black communities. Is that something that we are going to hear people come out and fight against quite severely in the next month?
I certainly hope so. I mean, this should be a wake-up call for everyone who is fighting against racism. I mean, Planned Parenthood was founded on the principle of eugenics, on the principle of racism. And currently it is the building block of their business model. You know, they put 80% of their facilities inside of minority, what they call super minority neighborhoods, where at least 80% of the population is minority and primarily African American. So we need to see these African American leaders calling out Planned Parenthood. And when you look at the organization Black Lives Matter, there you see one of their core tenets is to support reproductive rights, which is abortion. And you can't have it both ways. So, you know, there needs to be more African-American leaders, minority leaders calling out the Black Lives Matter organization, calling out Planned Parenthood, or else, unfortunately, we are going to see the eradication of the African-American population through abortion.
Yeah, it's shocking. Who would think that we would be here after all of these years, that we would come to a Supreme Court decision that is still fighting for Black lives and the freedom of Black lives? But here we are. Abby Johnson, anti-abortion activist, thank you so much for being on today. We really appreciate it. Steve, it is shocking to hear those statistics and to see what goes, just to see through the eyes of someone who was in the room during these abortions and what these babies felt, and to know that they do feel pain. And I think that those graphic images that she brings up and that she talked about in the RNC is something that Americans just can't really look away from. We won't be able to anymore. Stay tuned. We have a lot more for you after this on America's Voice Live.
The hottest new razor is taking the men's grooming world by storm. And if you don't have it, you need it. Micro Touch Solo, the hyper-advanced full-body razor that trims, shapes, edges, and even shaves with micro precision. And it's totally safe to the touch. Go solo for full body control with one tool. No nicks, bumps, or ingrown hairs. Edge beards and goatees with one touch. Clean your neck, barber shop perfect. And check this out. Snap on the guide to tame growth and perfectly shape your full beard. And keep new growth stubble trimmed exactly to your style. And look, the Solo Full Body Groomer trims precisely the length of hair you want. Snap off the guide and remove unwanted hair anywhere in seconds. What makes Solo different than your ordinary razor? Dual-sided German stainless steel blade. Shave up or down at 200 microstrokes per second. The Ultra Flex pivoting head contours perfectly to you for precise results. 3 custom grooming guides for control of exact length and shape. And a built-in LED light so you never miss a spot. Solo is so precise, you need no creams, no soaps, and no water. Ditch the old man clippers and toss the scissors. You've got to go solo. Call 1-800-709-9777 or go online at microtouchsolo.com and get yours now for only $19.99. Complete with German stainless steel blade, pivoting head, built-in spotlight, and 3 custom grooming guides. Everything you see here for just $19.99. The all-new Micro Touch Solo Full Body Groomer. The one tool that does it all.
And it is a rally day, Steve. I want to remind everybody that it is a rally day in Ohio. We, of course, have a team on the ground because we always cover all of the president's rallies, and you can catch it here tonight at 6:30. We will go live and make sure that you can watch the president's rally uninterrupted. But we do have Amanda Head on the ground, so we want to go to her now. Amanda, tell us what's going on in Ohio.
Hi, guys. So we are going to be let in, I think, here about an hour, and that's when they're going to start opening up the lines for all of these people to go in. I know we've given you lots of crowd shots, but I don't think we have enough memory on the cloud to take a video of the entire line. I'm looking behind the camera, and the line goes as far as I can see. I am terrible at human estimates. I have no idea how many people there are. It could be 2,000. It could be 30,000. That's how bad I am. But all I know is that there are bodies as far as I can see.
It does look like there are a lot of people. We know that there are a lot of people at all of these events, but is this again an outdoor hangar, or are they going to be just gathering outside? Have you seen a lot? I don't see a lot of people with masks, but right now everybody is still pretty separate there. Will you be outside for the actual event?
Yeah, so this is going to be a similar setup to both Minnesota and Wisconsin from last week. If you guys remember, well, you probably couldn't tell, but the media is actually the only people who were in the hangar, and then the president was beyond that hangar. The hangar looked onto the president and the crowd, so it was completely open air for all of the people attending it. So there's not a lot of social distancing, but it's open air. It's a beautiful day here. It's a great day to be alive, as the country song goes, and these people are ready to go in. One of the things that I've heard a lot of people chatter about is the concern about filling Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat. And here's the concern that a lot of people have, because President Trump announced this morning that he is going to be announcing who that nominee will be. We already know that it's a woman. President Trump announced that in North Carolina. But he's going to announce who that nominee will be on either Friday or Saturday. That actually puts us in a very tight time crunch for a confirmation hearing to occur. We know that Democrats, as Nancy Pelosi has said, is going to use every arrow in her quiver to put a stop to this. And the unfortunate thing is that with 8 on the Supreme Court, with an even number, if for some reason, God forbid, this is a contended election, and obviously we know ever since President Trump was elected in 2016, we have known that his re-election would be exponentially more contentious and possibly contended. So if you've got states that are a red mirage, like Ohio, like Pennsylvania, if you have Democrats who decide to contest those numbers and it gets sent up to the Supreme Court, what happens if there's a 4-4 split? Well, then it gets bounced back down to a lower court, and we may not ever know who the president of the United States is because it's going to be left up to a judge.
And we certainly know that Antonin Scalia in 2000 made a pivotal vote in favor of George W. Bush winning that election. Democrats have never accepted it. Democrats have never accepted it. But we seem to have this notion, Amanda, that somehow John Roberts is going to cast a vote to tie. Now, we don't know that. John Roberts, of course, tied himself in knots to give 2 votes for Obamacare to survive. But generally speaking, John Roberts has been a guy who has voted with the conservative bloc. And if you look at it that way, then it's a 5-3 majority today on the United States Supreme Court. I think it's just too unpredictable and too many unknowns to even get into that. Maybe the election will be decided in fine fashion on Election Day. But the idea that we're going to a 4-4 tie automatically, I think maybe that's just presumptuous on some people's part. What do you think?
Well, the unfortunate thing is that John Roberts, yes, traditionally he has voted with the conservatives. For whatever reason, in the last 3.5 years, he has been a questionable vote. He has not been a guaranteed vote for the conservatives on the panel. And maybe that's because he, for whatever reason, maybe it's President Trump's methods and the things that are being sent to our nation's highest court. We don't know the reason behind it. Obviously, Supreme Court justices are supposed to be above politics and completely apolitical and to truly just interpret the Constitution. So nobody knows the motive behind it, but, John Roberts is not a guaranteed vote for President Trump if it were to go to the Supreme Court. So I think that the best mode right now is to plan for the worst and prepare for that.
Amanda, thank you for being down there on the ground. You and I will be talking later tonight as well, as we have coverage right up until the rally here on Real America's Voice. So make sure you tune in But Steve, in the meantime, I want to talk to you a little bit about Joe Biden's speech the other night, because he had a few gaffes. I want to play one for you right now about about how many people are dying of COVID. Here it is.
And perhaps, most cruelly of all, if Donald Trump has his way, the complications from COVID-19, which are well beyond what they should be. It's estimated that 200 million people have died, probably by the time I finish this talk.
So, Steve, obviously, I think he meant 200,000. But if you are looking at that and you're thinking of a presidential candidate, you should be living these numbers. He's telling us, he's trying to convince us that he's going to handle coronavirus so much better than the president. He doesn't even know how many people have it. He doesn't know the numbers. He's not up on the terminology. No. And he doesn't, you don't mistake 200 million for 200,000.
But this has been a long pattern for Joe Biden. His numbers, he does not have any mastery of numbers. We've heard him do these things before where he interchanges numbers, whether it's debt, deficit, dying Americans, living Americans, the number of people in the world, the number of people who have died from gun violence. I think at one point he said 65 million Americans have died from gun violence. Joe Biden's mastery of the facts, tenuous at best. And get used to it, because it's going to continue. We saw Joe Biden when he came out, when he learned about the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. He looked listless. He looked out of touch. I don't know how to describe it. It didn't look like a man who's ready to lead the free world or to select somebody to sit in a Supreme Court seat for the rest of their lives. It just seems out of sorts to me. I guess the real question will come a week from tomorrow in Cleveland, Ohio, at Case Western Reserve University, provided that Joe Biden shows up. And there's still a school of thought that they will find an excuse to keep Joe Biden from appearing in Cleveland for the first presidential debate on September the 29th. So, Tudor, I don't know what to make of that. We'll have to see if he's in Cleveland and if he's all there when he is there.
No, I think what you're saying is very important. In fact, he also talked over the weekend about Trump asking for his Supreme Court nominee list. He said he didn't ask for it until after Justice Ginsburg died. We all know that he was talking about that weeks ago. We talked about it on this program. Now we find out that his campaign has deleted that part of his video. It is disturbing, and it will be interesting to see what happens a week from tomorrow. We'll be right back on America's Voice Live.
Do you have any idea how your mattress affects your body and how well you sleep? Is it too hard or too soft, causing you to wake up with sore shoulders, back, or hips? Are you uncomfortable because you're too hot or too cold? Now you can get the total body support you need and the better sleep you want with the new MyPillow mattress topper.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. When I invented my new MyPillow mattress topper, I made it to have everything you'd ever want in a topper. My mattress topper helps give you the support you need, helps relieve your pressure points, and regulates your body temperature for you as an individual. It comes with a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry the cover. It's made in the USA, and I back it with my 60-day money-back guarantee.
Go to MyPillow.com or call now to get your very own MyPillow mattress topper. Use the promo code and Mike will give you 30% off and 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free. Order now.
MyPillow topper delivers on its promise to give me a better night's sleep.
I can sleep all night through, and it's a miracle for me.
Mike's exclusive 3-layer design starts with a layer of MyPillow foam, providing you superior support and comfort. The second layer of transitional foam evenly distributes body weight and helps relieve uncomfortable pressure points for optimal comfort. Mike's ultra soft outer layer is a patented temperature regulating cover that helps keep you at your ideal sleeping temperature all night long. Unlike other sleep systems costing thousands, the MyPillow mattress topper takes comfort to a whole new level without any wires, remotes, or moving parts. Call now or go to MyPillow.com to order your MyPillow topper. Use the promo code to save 30%. When you do, Mike will give you 2 of his standard MyPillows absolutely free. That's right, 2 standard MyPillows free and 30% off your MyPillow topper today. Order now.
I personally guarantee it's going to change your bed into the most comfortable bed you'll ever own.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
You know, listen, we've all seen people doing, shall we say, Tudor, unusual things while driving down the road. You know, putting on makeup, eating, talking on the phone. You know, you've seen this. I see people reading books, driving. I'm like, what are you doing? They've got like a book on the steering wheel, you know, and a woman's putting on lipstick. You know, it's like crazy stuff. Well, try this one on for size. Get a load of this guy in his Tesla. He's going down the road at 90 miles an hour. I guess it's nap time. He is asleep, taking a nap at 90 miles an hour. That's not according to me. That's what the police said. This guy was cruising down the road. By the way, word to the White, so I've heard. This is nothing that I've ever known to be true. Do not misbehave in front of truck drivers. Okay? Whatever you're doing,
Right.
whatever your misbehavior might be. Because they've got this little thing called a CB radio. Boop. And no matter how fast you are, you can't outrun Motorola. I'll tell you that right now. Right now. So would you do that? Would you take a nap at 90 miles an hour, Tudor?
No, it terrifies me. But yeah, this guy looks over, nobody in the driver's seat. The driver's seat is just completely reclined, sleeping. No way. I am not into, I don't even like the idea of a self-driving car. I just feel like I need to be the one that has control. But it was a 20-year-old guy, and he just felt like he didn't need to be the one.
But it was a self-driving car, right? I mean, that's what it was. The car was driving itself, obviously. He said, I'm so sleepy. I was up late last night. Yeah, anyhow, I don't see, I'd be scared to death. I mean, you know, when I hear things creak in the middle of the night, I sit up in my bed sometimes. You know, letting a car go down the road at 90? No, I don't see that. Mm-mm.
No, but speaking of cars and young people, this is a bit of a different story here. There was a young man who noticed that there was a car on fire. The car passed him, it was on fire. He jumped out of his car, ran to the car that was on fire, and touched the handle of the door, realized the handle was hot. He asked the 9-year-old, so the car has a mom in it with 3 children. He asked the 9-year-old to unbuckle her younger siblings, ages 4 and 1. The 9-year-old was able to do that. He helped mom out of the car, then helped the kids out of the car. Well, ultimately, the chief of police gave him what is called the challenge coin. It's an award that's generally only given to standout police officers, but this boy was given this award for his heroism. Of course, Steve, he says he wasn't a hero, but I would have to say mom probably thinks a little differently.
I think mom's pretty proud of what happened there. I mean, looking at what's left of that automobile, not a good place for the family to stay any more than about 10 seconds longer than they were there. So that's pretty impressive. And good that the police were able to communicate and make all of that work, too. It sounds like a crew of people were working there. But, I mean, that car, nothing left of it.
No, and he came back and he said, some people think teens are just lazy, but that's not true. I wouldn't consider myself a hero. I just want someone to help me if I was in that situation, and that's why I ran to the car. This was really about someone else's well-being, not mine. I mean, great story. Look at him there. He's talking to the police officer. So thoughtful and so, you know, he doesn't care about his own situation. The door was hot. He said, even when he ran up to the car, he said, I was afraid the car might explode. And when you see a car on fire like that, that is the first thought you have. This car could explode. Didn't even think about himself. Just went straight to that car. But another teen in New Mexico that has done something incredible. Lillian Peterson, she graduated from high school early, but she created an early warning system using satellite imagery to predict crop yields in Africa. And she's actually been able to do this and helped a lot of the people internationally to make sure that they're going to have enough food. And this is leading to an initiative to solve world hunger. But the best part about this story, I think, is that her parents had actually just adopted 3 younger siblings, all from impoverished parts of the country, where she was actually able to do this. So she said, man, she saw them struggling to figure out how to eat and how to be nourished human beings after they came to be a part of her family. And she said, nah, I can fix this.
Now that's really great. You know, it's amazing that young people can sometimes just say, wait a second, look at it differently. No preconceived notions, no limitations on what they think is possible. And they say, no, wait a second, I can solve this. I think that's terrific. Now, me personally, I haven't missed a lot of meals. And so, missing out on food has never been much of a problem. So I don't need any satellite coverage of me. I'm good. I just want to throw that out there, because I don't think I've missed a meal since about maybe 1971.
Well, she could help you on travels too. Apparently, her friends come to her and ask her if they should buy a ski pass or not because she's monitoring the weather. So she knows a lot. She could help you, maybe not on meals, but maybe on travel, Steve.
Well, there you go, and all the help we can get. Young people on these devices, making the world a better place, I guess, Tudor. Good being with you again today.
Absolutely. Everybody stay tuned. The National Pulse is up next.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly meeting?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this.
Let's stack the deck.
When legends play,